Conjuring Last Rites is directed by Michael Shaws and stars Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities they must confront. I really enjoyed all the mainline Conjuring films. The third one is definitely my least favorite, but the first two by James Wan were really fantastic, and I highly recommend watching those two Conjuring films, especially over the rest of the universe. If you want to watch the rest of the universe, it's fine and all, but I would just stick to the main line Conjuring films. Maybe the last two Annabelle movies, especially the one with the Warrens. But if you just want like a great film, just watch the first two Conjuring films. You're not missing much if you watch anything else. But I was excited to see this last Conjuring film because I did still enjoy all the mainline Conjuring films, even if the first two are definitely much better than the last one. So I was going to the film a bit cautious. Michael Shaws is not the best director in the world in my opinion, but he's someone that has improved his skills with each film he has made in this universe. He did The Curse of La Llorona, and he improved with himself with the last Conjuring film. And so I was going to this film thinking, hopefully he can learn a few more mistakes and try to make this film even better. And I believe he did, and he gave the mainline Conjuring films, in my opinion, a pretty good conclusion. In fact, I would say that I was surprised as to how much I actually enjoyed this film. I didn't love it. I didn't think it's the best horror film ever. I don't think it's going to change cinema, but I think in terms of the story of the Warrens, of Ed and Lorraine Warren, at least in this fictitious version of them, I think this film did a great job at closing these characters' stories with a bang. And that is due to the fact that this film is strictly about the Warrens. Yes, there is another haunting that the Warrens have to investigate with this family, but everything leads back to them. This case is the most personal to them, as everything started from their humble beginnings as paranormal investigators, and that haunting past comes back to them in very brutal ways that involves their daughter, which they will do anything to protect in this world. I really enjoy the new actress that plays Judy in this film, and I think she did a very great job. I also really enjoyed the plot line of this boyfriend that she now has that she wants to introduce to her parents, and how quick their love is brewing. It goes to a few familiar territory, but how Ed and Lorraine Warren try to figure out themselves in this situation with their daughter, I think was quite refreshing, especially with Ed Warren here, who is someone who is protective of her daughter and is a bit cautious of this whole thing, but is willing to still give this boy a chance because he sees an actual good heart with his kid who has been through quite a bit and has a pretty decent reason as to why he's rushing through love so quick. And so you understand these characters' ideals and what's going on with them, especially with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and how much they want to protect their daughter from the sins, not really the sins of their past, but what has transpired with them due to them starting out as paranormal investigators, especially when Lorraine Warren was about to give birth. And the tension that breeds from that, and how it just elevates throughout the film, like higher and higher, I thought was pretty well done. Even some side characters that we have grown to enjoy throughout these films, like this priest character that we see throughout, he is given quite a bit of importance to the story. And again, everything just is coming to a head here. Everything felt like this is the finale. Characters that you've loved seeing before can and will die in this film, and it creates a lot of genuine stakes for the finale for Ed and Lorraine Warren, because this is a fictitious version of them, and while you know they're real life, end if you read anything about these people in real life. Because these are like very fictitious versions of these characters, you're not sure as to really how things are going to turn out. And so because there is that good amount of tension built, especially with the horror being a lot more restrained a bit in the middle chunk because we are so character focused, once we do eventually get to the end and the finale, once we do get to the finale and the end of the film, where all the horror really comes at you, all the jump scares, especially all the creative camera movement, I gotta say, like the technical side of things in terms of cinematography, production design, CGI even, I think it's all really well done, even better than La Llorona or the third Conjuring film. I think Michael Chavez was able to hone in on his visuals a lot better with this new film, and it created a great sense of finality by the end, to where you understand the journey of these characters and what they gone through, not just in this film, but from the previous 3 films you look back on. It felt just right as to how these characters' stories would end in this way. Overall, I gotta say, I really enjoyed The Conjuring: The Last Rites. I don't think it is as good as the first 2 Conjuring films, like with the third film. These last 2 Conjuring films, I think, are good, enjoyable horror films, just nothing spectacular or gonna rock your world. But in terms of progressing the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren, I think this movie does a really fantastic job at getting me to care about these characters in such a personal way. This is probably the most character development they all have ever gotten in any of these films, and the themes of family and sticking together really shine through, especially with the relationship between Lorraine and Judy here. I love these 2 characters and how they showcase so much love for one another and trust for one another, even in some of their darkest moments. I think it all shines really well through on the screen, and overall it gave the film a beating heart that most of the other Conjuring films had. Like most of the other Conjuring films, like most of the Annabelle movies or The Nun or the first, what was it, the Cursing La Llorona, they all, some may be better than others, but I really do not feel like there was a beating heart with those films. They felt generic, even when they are at least decent. With the mainline Conjuring films, even with the last 2, they all shared a beating heart, and that is the Warrens. I cared about these characters even by the end of this film, and I felt like I got a complete story out of it, and overall, I had a good time. I'm gonna miss watching these mainline Conjuring films. Most likely gonna continue the universe, but in terms of the Warren story, I'm happy with this ending and how things came to a close. I'm gonna give The Conjuring: The Last Rite. I'm gonna give The Conjuring: Last Rites a B+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.